Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about all these series that I am currently in the middle of. So get strapped in because there is a lot of series to get through. Basically, so I am someone who has no problem picking up a series and then just kind of like giving up on it and forgetting about it. So I have a lot of series that I'm currently in the middle of. I need to add more into my series tracker. But I thought we could just run through them today and you could let me know, do I need to get to certain series straight away or what to do, because I need to get through them. Now, 3 I have currently marked off here. So I've finished the Throne of Glass series, which I'm very, very happy about. I've finished the Part of Your World trilogy by Abby Jimenez, which is like not a series, but technically I'm counting it as a series, even though it's just like interconnected standalones, but they're part of the, if you look at them on Goodreads, they say that they're part of the series, so I'm going to include them as part of a series. And I finished the Rebel Blue Ranch series recently enough because I finished Wild and Wrangled, so I've ticked 3 series off my current series tracker, but I've added some series since I've done my last check-in, so that's where we are. So the first series that I have on my series tracker is the Beartown trilogy by Fredrik Backman. I currently only have 1 book left in this series. I have the winners. So Beartown basically follows this small town where hockey is huge for them. It is kind of ride or die. It is the most important thing, and the town functions around hockey. And there is events that happen in the first book, which is called Beartown, that we see play out through the course of the rest of the series. And the second book is called Us Against You, and the third book is called The Winners. So if you really like deep character analyses, because we are following multiple different characters, but we're somehow managing to get all of their points of view and all of what's going on for them internally while the story is still unfolding, which is a talent that Fredrik Backman is the only author that I've managed to find that has mastered it, to manage to make me care about really, really mundane things, but put such really important meaning behind them. Any book that I've read by Fredrik Backman has been a phenomenal experience. Not just the Beartown trilogy, I've also read A Man Called Ove, Anxious People, My Friends, and all 3 of them have been 4 and above. I don't think I've rated a book by Fredrik Backman under 4 stars so far, and I'm hoping The Winners will be a 5-star read, but I'm just pushing it off because I feel like we're not in the time of year to read it at the moment because we're currently in the summer, so I'm trying to push it off to more of the autumn winter time. So I will read it at some point just later in the year, I hope. The next one is the Playing for Keeps series. This is a hockey romance series as far as I know. I read Consider Me and I really, really didn't enjoy it, but everyone has said to me that the rest of the books in the series are really, really good. So we have Play With Me, Unravel Me, Fall With Me, and Breathe With Me, and I've been told that they are brilliant. So I am going to take your guys' recommendations and I will continue the series, but there's other hockey romance ones that like I'm obsessed with that I really want to read right now, so I'm going to read them before that, unfortunately. So I will get to it at some point, I just don't know when. The next series is the Off the Ice series by Bal Cabra, and I am absolutely obsessed with this series. I have been reading it since they have started coming out. I requested the first one ever from NetGalley, and I have been slowly requesting them as arcs ever since because I am absolutely obsessed with Bal Cabra's writing. She manages to combine this like cute, fluffy, spicy romance and then also adding in those elements of deeper issues and like building more meaningful, deeper relationships with our characters. And the 4 books in the series are Collide, Spiral, Revolve, and Embrace. And I think Embrace is going to be the 4th and final. And we're following Kian Ishida. And I have been waiting for Kian's book since number 1. And I currently have it on my Kindle. But I want to be able to read it kind of the same time to have the anticipation with everyone else. So I'm hoping to push it off maybe till July because it comes out on August 4th. So if you've not read the Off the Ice series, you have time to read it before Embrace comes out in August, but I need to obviously read that to complete the series. the next, and I started this series last year because I wanted to read all the books that like people read as teenagers that I never read, because as a teenager I kind of fell out of love with reading as a teenager and then fell back in love with it as an adult. So Twilight, The Hunger Games, Divergent, all these different series I've never read. So I read the Twilight book and I absolutely loved it, and never thought I would say that I could possibly be Team Edward, but I am. I was always Team Jacob because of the movies, and look, let's be real, because Taylor Lautner is hot AF. That is the main reason that I loved and wanted Bella to end up with Jacob. But reading the books, I prefer book Edward. But then I'm like, is it movie Edward too? I don't know, but I'm enjoying the book. So I finished Twilight a year and a half ago, I want to say, and I haven't picked up the rest of the series yet. But again, I feel like that's a very autumn series, so I'm going to kind of push it off to September, October, the like months, you know what I'm on about. So we're going to push it off till then, but I've only read Twilight, and I need to read obviously New Moon, Eclipse? I need to read New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, and Midnight Sun. There's something wrong with me, but anyway, yeah, I need to read the Twilight series, and currently in the middle of it, more or less at the start of it, and I will get to it at some point, but as I said, it's going to be later in the year, similar to Beartown. Next series is another romance, and it's another sports romance, and I never thought I'd be your sports romance girly, but it's just slowly creeping into every series that I'm starting to read, and you'll see a theme going on, because so far we've had hockey in Beartown, even though that's not a romance, Playing for Keeps, which is a hockey romance, Off the Ice, which is hockey, ice skating romance, and now we have the Windy City, which is a sports romance, but we have like baseball, basketball. I think they're the main two that we're following, baseball and basketball. So I have read Mile High, The Right Move, and Caught Up, and so far my favourite has been Caught Up. I'm obsessed with Kai. Is that his name? Kai Rhodes? Yes, Kai and Isaiah. So I'm obsessed with Kai, and I'm excited because Isaiah's book is next. In Play Along, in the fourth book, we are following Isaiah and Kennedy, and it is Sarah Crowley's favourite. And historically, if Sarah Crowley loves a book, I usually end up loving it. So I'm very excited for Play Along. But I only finished Caught Up recently enough, and I just haven't went to go to read Play Along yet. So that's the only reason I haven't got to it. So if you're looking for a sports romance series, then I would highly recommend the Windy City series. It is set in Chicago, and we're following a different couple each book, so they are interconnected standalones, so you could read them all together, read them separately. I personally would recommend reading any interconnected standalones, just reading them in the order that they're released, because I feel like you generally get the better experience out of it. I did not enjoy Mile High that much. He was not my favourite. We have Xander's and Stevie, and then in the second book we have Ryan Shea, which is Stevie's brother, and he is a basketball player, and Indy, who is Stevie's best friend, and they end up moving in together, and they end up together. And then in Caught Up we have Kai and Miller, and Kai is a baseball player, and he is a single dad, and he basically needs to find a nanny to kind of juggle his work-life balance, and he keeps firing nannies. But the coach of the team's daughter, Miller, is looking to kind of get out of the field of work she's currently in because she feels like she's getting overworked. So she goes and is the nanny for Kai, and then you obviously know what happens, and then obviously we play it, and then we've obviously Play Along, which follows Isaiah, as I said, and as far as I know, Rewind It Back follows Rio, and I'm very excited to read his story. But if you're looking for a sports romance that isn't necessarily hockey, then I would recommend going into the Windy City series, because you have a mix of baseball and basketball. The next series that I am currently in the middle of is the Letters of Enchantment series, and that's not necessarily a series, it's more of a duology, but I still count duologies as part of a series, because if I have to read more than one book in your series, if I have to read more than one book to get the full story, it's a series. So I have read Divine Rivals, I just need to read Ruthless Vows. So in Divine Rival, we are following Iris and Roman, and Iris is sending these letters to her brother who has gone off to war, and she's never ever getting any responses. And then on the other side of it, we have Roman, who she works with, and he is getting these letters from this typewriter, and one day he decides to answer them, but Iris thinks it's her brother answering her, whereas Roman knows that who is writing to him, and Iris doesn't know, and it unfolds through there. And in Ruthless Vows, like, it ends on a cliffhanger, and there's certain events happening that have to unfold, and that's what's happening in Ruthless Vows, I assume. And I basically just need to get to it, because there is a third one. I don't know if it's technically part of the series, but Wild Reverence is about the gods that we see who are rulers in the Letters of Enchantment. So I think it's like, you don't need to read the Letters of Enchantment to understand what's going on, but you would have a better understanding of the world in the Letter of Enchantment series, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I'm mumbo jumbo now because I'm getting into the fantasy, but yeah, I really enjoyed Divine Rivals. It was a 4.5 star for me, and it was recommended by Morgan. And I just basically need to get to Ruthless Vows at some point, but I just feel like fantasy and all that is like for later in the year, when we get to that like darker, more autumn season. So I may keep it for them, but who knows. The next series I am in the middle of is The Hunger Games, and I will actually be continuing it this month. Thank God. You'll be happy to know there is a series I actually will be continuing at the moment, because my boyfriend picked Catching Fire for my June TBR. If you saw that, I'll include the video here, and I'll include it in the description, but he picked Catching Fire. So The Hunger Games is a series that I did not read ever, and I have not watched until I met my boyfriend, and he loves The Hunger Games, so we watched it. And I just feel like it's time that I finally read it, and there's so many more books coming out, and Suzanne Collins is actively writing books in the series, which is crazy considering how long ago the original trilogy was released. And I've heard that she has a very good way at like masterfully, even though the series ended so long ago, being able to like pick up more or less exactly where it was, and like everything still be connected. So I have read the first one following Peeta and Katniss, and then obviously Peeta and Katniss are in the Catching Fire and Mockingjay books, but the other two books, the Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping, are prequels, and I'm just buzzing to read them, and then really excited to be able to watch the current movies, because I haven't watched the more recently released movies because they obviously feed into the original Hunger Games trilogy, and I just basically want to read it all as a whole, and then I'll go back and watch it all as a whole. So that's why I haven't got to it yet, but we will be reading Catching Fire this month, so stay tuned for that. The next one, and it is a cowboy romance, and it is Miss Elsie Silver. I am currently on the last book in the Rosehill Ranch series, which is her most recent release. So the first book we're following Ford, the second book we're following Weston, the third book we're following Reese, and in the fourth book we are following Bash. They're all part of this single dad's bowling club, and it is a interconnected standalone. So there is a character, one of the main characters in the first book of the Rosehill Ranch series is related to a character that we meet in Chestnut Springs, and I love that Elsie Silver does that. I love just the little connections to each series, because if you don't know, the Gold Rush Ranch, Chestnut Springs and Rosehill are all connected in the same, they're all in the same universe. So I would highly recommend getting to it if you haven't. It, in my ranking of my series so far, it would be Chestnut Springs is Ride or Die, and then Rosehill Ranch, and then Gold Rush Ranch. But I need to get to Wildcard. It is following Bash and Gwen, and it is an age gap romance, and it is ex-boyfriend's dad's romance, which is kind of freaky. Don't know how I feel about that, but I need to get to it, and I think summer is the perfect time to be getting to cowboy romances. And the next series that I am currently in the middle of, that I currently already have written in my series tracker, is the When in Rome series, which again, as I said, technically is a series, but it is. So I need to read In Your Dreams. It is the last one in the series, and there's actually a lot of series on here that I have to just read like the last one of, and I When in Rome series. So there is 4 books in this series. We have When in Rome, Practice Makes Perfect, Beg, Borrow or Steal, or In Your Dreams. And I have read the first 3. I need to read the 4th one, and I'm very excited. In the 4th one we are following Madison and James. She's went off to the big city to New York to live out her culinary dreams, but has decided that she needs to go back home, and goes back home, and this opportunity comes up with James on his farm for her to be the chef and then do a food, like farm to table type restaurant. And I'm very excited. It is also on the TBR for June. My boyfriend picked it, so I'm hoping that that will be another series that we tick off in the month of June. So I am currently in the middle of 8 series, and there is a couple more that we need to add to it. So I have recently started Nightshade by Autumn Woods, and I know that's going to be more than a 1-book series, so I need to add that onto my list. And I have currently started the Off Campus series, so that is a 5-book series that I'm going to be getting into, and I'm currently on the 2nd book. So that makes it 10 series that I'm currently in the middle of. I thought it would be a lot more. It feels a lot more, to be honest, but they're the ones that I have currently. So I'm currently in the middle of the 10, and there will be more coming. There is a few that I will be starting, because if I'm reading Off Campus, I want to read Briar U, and I'll want to read that whole series. And I want to start Devney Perry's new romantasy series, The Shield of Sparrows and Rights of the Starling, and we have a 3rd book confirmed. I am currently reading ACOTAR, obviously like everyone else, but I didn't include it because it's not a series that I can currently continue because we have a release coming out in October. So it's a series that I'm in the middle of, but I won't be adding onto a series tracker until the newest release comes out, because I can't technically read anything from it yet. So that is the series that I am all currently in the middle of. So let me know if there's any series that you would like to recommend to me, because like honestly there's nothing better than having like a multi-book series to go through, like The Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, Boys of Tommen, Windy City, Rosehill Ranch, Chestnut Springs, Beartown, Off the Ice. All of these series, like it just fills me with so much joy being able to have multiple books set in the same universe. So if there is any series that I have not got to that you think I would really, really enjoy based on the ones that I'm currently reading, please comment below and let me know what series you're currently reading, or if you've read any of the ones that I've read and you really enjoyed them. And I'll talk to you guys